Hello and welcome to another math-tastic video. Today we're talking about breaking down or simplifying radicals. Okay, so here's my example problem. The square root of 48. How do we break this down? Let's see. Well, we're going to have to get down to prime factors. Okay, so what we need to do is figure out what times what gives us 48. Well, you say, oh, of course. That is 4 and 12. Any kind of pairing, you're just finding the two numbers to start out with. You could say 2 and 24, 4 and 12. It doesn't matter. You're going to end up at the same spot if you break it down. So I chose 4 and 12. Let's go ahead and break these down. You want to get down to prime factors where you can't divide these numbers by anything else but 1 and itself. So if we break 4 down, what makes 4? 2 and 2. And let's break 12 down. We've got 2 times 6. And of course you can go 4 and 3 or whatever because you're going to break down to the same numbers. So don't worry about which numbers you choose here as long as they multiply to get that number. Okay, so now with the 4 I broke it down to 2 and 2. I can't go any lower than this. 2 is a prime number, so I'm stopping there. Now with this one I have 2 times 6. 2 is a prime number, but 6 is not. We can still break that down. 6 is 2 times 3. Okay, so with a radical, it's understood that we're taking a square root if we don't see a number right here in the index area. So let's break down what these parts are. So this is the radical sign. Inside we have the radicand. He hangs out inside the radical. And over here, if there's a number right here, that's called the index. Okay, so the index, if we don't see a number there, it's understood to be 2. So looking for 2 of a kind. So once we break this number down into prime factors, we're looking for 2 of a kind. And all the prime factors are here. I've got 3, 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay, so for 2 of a kind, I'm going to circle my 2 of a kind. These two, I've got a pair of 2's, and also here, I've got a pair of 2's. So every bubble, I'm circling 2 of a kind, they're going to represent by one number on the outside. So this is going to represent the 2's on the outside. This also is going to represent a bubble of 2's that we broke down. We're going to multiply those. They come outside of the radical, and we write our leftovers, which is 3, on the inside. Okay, and we can always double check ourselves if we get down to our prime factors. Does 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 equal 48? And it does, so we're good to go there. So once we have our bubbles represented, our 2 of a kind here, they just happen to be the number 2, they come on the outside and they multiply. So we have one bubble represented by the 2's in it, this bubble of 2's represented. We're going to multiply those. So we have 4 on the outside, square root of 3. There you go. That's it. Breaking down radicals. So no matter how large this number is, you still want to do the same process. So break it down as far as you can take it as far as prime numbers. Once you get to prime numbers, you stop. And then if the index is not there, you don't see a number there, it's going to be the square root. Okay, so let's try a cube root. How is that different? So let's try maybe the cube root of 32. Okay, I'm going to break this down into prime factors. So I start with thinking, what times what gives me 32? Well, let's see. First one that comes to mind, 4 times 8. Okay, these are not prime numbers, but I'm still going to break those down until I get to prime numbers. So let's see, 4, that is 2 times 2. 2 is prime, so I'm going to stop right there. 8, I got to break that one down. So I've got 4 times 2. 2 is prime, 4 needs to keep going. What makes 4? Well, that's 2 times 2. So 2. Okay, so now I've got my index. I've got a number up here that's visible. I've got a 3. So I'm looking for 3 of a kind. So this is going to tell me how many groups of numbers that I need. 3 of a kind. So I'm looking at my prime numbers here. I've got a whole bunch of 2's. I'm looking for 3 of a kind. So here are this is one set of 3 of a kind. It's going to go to the outside. I'm going to represent that by that number on the outside. And then I don't have any other 3 of a kind, so these guys are going to stay inside the radical. Remember, I want to keep the same radical here, so I'm looking for a cube root. That's going to stay the same. And my leftovers are going to multiply, but because they're leftovers, they stay inside the radical, so it's 2 times 2. Okay? Only one 3 of a kind set came out, so that's 2 cube root. Any of the leftovers need to multiply, so I've got 4. So the answer to the cube root of 32, after I break it down into prime factors, I circle 3 of a kind, that comes out, and I'm left with 2 cube root of 4, because my leftovers multiplied. And there we go. Enjoy!